Hello, I'm Arthur. This is my channel. This is What If Deku who was broken. I.e., what if what if there were rifts between anime? This all starts with Izuku's father, who is the fifth son of Madara Uchiha, and many of the other Uchiha who chose not to live in the Leaf, who scattered to the winds, going discovering the rifts. During this time, Madara encounters Inko. Inko is actually a descendant of the Uchiha in My Hero World, so she knows about the Sharingan. Unfortunately, she knows that has not developed the Sharingan like her husband has, who has the Mangekyo. He becomes a pro hero, making money. Eventually, Izuku is born. Izuku is born with his quirk and Kekkei Genkai being merged. It is called Evolved Sharingan. When Izuku goes camping one day, Izuku gets lost in the woods and ends up going through a rift. He does not know it's a rift, but ends up in the Demon Slayer universe, where he meets a young Tanjiro who's a bit older than him. Remember, Tanjiro is older than Izuku. Tanjiro takes him to meet his family. This is when Izuku meets Nezuko. Nezuko is his go-to, and is his lover. Nezuko's a bit of a falls in love with Izuku, as does Izuku, who fall in love with her. They see each other as beautiful people, two sides of the same coin. But Izuku is a bit weird because of his hair turning from a green to a black. Izuku explains that he dyes his hair. This is just Izuku's way of being, well, Izuku. Izuku's quirk involves Sharingan. Does mean he already has the Sharingan. It's activated throughout his life, even when he was just 4. This is because his quirk and Kekkei Genkai are one and the same. This is just the nature of his quirk. But of course, Izuku's a bit... Tanjiro and Nezuko's father teaches Izuku and Tanjiro the Breath of the Sun before he passes away. Of course, at this time, it was just to them, it was known as the Hitogatagara. I don't know how to pronounce that. Basically, the dance of the fire god. Izuku is given Hanafuda, his own set of Hanafuda earrings. But before Tanjiro's and Nezuko's father passes away, 2 rings are crafted. These are a gold ring with a green gem with a red gem in the center. This represents Izuku. The other is a silver ring with a pink gem. This represents Nezuko. They are put in a box that acquires a key, which Izuku is given, and Nezuko was given the box. When they determine it's ready, Nezuko and Izuku will get married. Prepare to get married. No. Izuku eventually returns to his world with that promise. Everyone was panicking, except for Izuku's father, who knew about the rifts being more common in forested areas. Now, As Izuku grows up, he learns his father passes away, dies right in front of him. This finally unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan for Izuku. However, as his dad is dying, he rips his own eyeballs out. You may be wondering, what the fuck? Be like, what the fuck? Well, this is actually because even though he's in so much pain, he tells Izuku his will is to pass on the Sharingan, his Mangekyo, to Izuku. So Izuku at this time knows the significance of the Sharingan's next stage of development, the Eternal Mangekyo. As it is, Izuku is a bit hesitant, but is proud to say his father is willing enough to sacrifice it. Although Inko was against it at first, Izuku is a bit on the knowledgeable side. So, poor Izuku is the father. However, his family was given a huge crap ton of money because of his father being number 3. So, Inko still works her own job, so keep that in mind. As Izuku grows, he was told about his grandfather, Madara, and the betrayal that Hashirama Senju, who did to Madara and his clan. However, luckily, Izuku formed a hatred, pointed his curse of hatred toward Madara's old chum. You might remember him as Hashirama Senju. Hashirama. Anyone Izuku swore himself never to fall into such a trap of friendship. Only protect what is more important to him, his direct loved ones. He still becomes close friends with he's still friends with Bakugo, who sees him as a rival to surpass. They have a friendly rivalry, which means Izuku has a better friendship with, well, Bakugo. He's called Deku as a joke rather than anything else. Now, when it comes to the time of the sludge villain, Izuku does encounter the sludge villain. However, he's better control of his uses lightning jutsu around himself to shock the sludge villain, which shocks him since he can actually feel it. This is because he is an Uchiha and he can actually use lightning release. He can also use fire release and how to actually learn all sorts of fire release jutsus. You might know them as fire jutsus, fire style jutsus. He still meets All Might. He still clings on to All Might's leg. Now his quirk is like that of his father's. Not wanting to tell him that he has a quirk gene and the Kageyama gene. All Might recognizes the Sharingan because he's fought Uchiha with it, as well as knew Izuku's father personally, as he was a colleague in the pro hero business. He knows Izuku would be a great hero. Izuku's a little more serious for the most part. However, he is still somewhat of a cinnamon. He's still a cinnamon roll, but he will kick your ass with no second flat if you piss him off. So he's a cinnamon roll you don't piss off. Bakugo still gets captured by Hashirama. Sorry about that. Izuku is training to use one for all. Starts training to use one for to use one for all. Around this time, Nezuko, Tanjiro, Inosuke, Zenitsu, and Nezuko in a box end up in the My Hero world by accidentally making the wrong turn and ending up there. The girl got confused and saw that weird rift and went through too, and then he starts berating, knowing this weird world seems to be more advanced. He remembers Izuku talking about this world. Tanjiro remembers Izuku pretty well. He's an older Izuku who's still wearing the Hanafuda earrings that Tanjiro's father left for Izuku. Now, this is when Izuku, since it's near dark, Nezuko senses Izuku's presence. Kicking the box open, thank God she was able to stay in the shade and hugged Izuku, which all my questions why this girl is absolutely hugging Izuku. Izuku recognizes her as well and smiles, saying, "It's good to see you too, Nezuko." Nezuko's making cooing noises because Nezuko is apologize. That was my mom. Yes, I'm 20 years old and live with my mom because I can't really work anywhere. So, my whole thing is weird. Nezuko pulls out the key he kept all this time, and Nezuko pulled out a box. Zenitsu starts wondering what's going on, and then sees two rings. Nezuko putting on the ring made out of gold with a green gem with a red gem growing out of it. Yep, they've been engaged since they were 5. Awkward. Izuku's death is not involved. Sorry, my sister just came back. Nezuko is basically being a bit. Zenitsu starts yelling at Izuku, "You took my Nezuko before I could even have her! What the frick?" Izuku basically punches. Says a. No. Can you not disturb me? I'm making a video.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, that was my younger sister. Can you close the door? So, my family is being loud. I apologize for that. Luckily, I won't edit most of this out of the video. Don't worry, I won't edit anything, so you can get to know people. Still. Nezuko reuniting with Izuku is a big deal in this story. This is because Nezuko is Izuku's fiance. Inko meets Nezuko for the first time and questions why she would agree to it so early on. Yeah, Nezuko does eventually defeat the sun completely. In the meanwhile, she was wearing a weird guard gear that was essentially a collar around her neck. Now, as Nezuko's relation doesn't go to school with Izuku, but is studying for the UA Jurors exam because she wants to be in the same class as Izuku. Yeah. They're not in this story, as Nezuko and Izuku will actually become close friends with Uraraka. Although Uraraka is a bit of a questionable state. Now, when the day that Izuku finishes the beach is 3 weeks before her UA entrance exam. Izuku gets one for all, but unlike Ken and Izuku, he actually figured out how to use it pretty early on. Yeah, he discovered full counting early. To a degree, anyways. Now, Izuku does start sparring with All Might, and however, oddly enough, it's Nezuko who suggests he spar with her. And yes, she's now defeated the sun, but she still has her muzzle here and there. Nezuko is Nezuko. Cute. So, Nezuko starts being is sometimes referred to being as adorable by the other people there. And poor Nezuko is adorable. Nezuko actually does well on her written exam, as does Izuku, because Izuku helped her a lot to prepare. Yes, and Nezuko, Tanjiro is currently staying with Izuku's mom, as is Inosuke and Zenitsu, serving as a little base within the My Hero world. Now, after the when it comes to the robots, Izuku obviously knew something was up with the robots. More specifically, the Zero Pointer, as it's made to be an obstacle, which means it may be may have a purpose other than having no points and it being an obstacle. Izuku goes in who prepares to go to the makeshift city. Luckily, him and Nezuko both showed up in the same area. They're happy about that. Sadly, Bakugo doesn't know much about Nezuko because he's Bakugo. However, Ida exhorts Izuku for bringing a weapon. Izuku states that he brought in. He has papers for it. Nezuko having a choker was really weird. Yeah, Nezuko has a choker around her neck and a muzzle. He also has papers for those. They don't know why it's a bamboo muzzle of all things. Then, of course, Izuku heads into the My Hero world. Enters not the My Hero world, the makeshift city, zooming with Nezuko with him, catching up to him on her own. Yeah, Nezuko is no slouch in this. She actually takes out a few demons with her demon blood art. Not demons, robots with her demon blood art. Sorry, this is me going without a script. So, yeah, and I apologize if you hear people in the background. That's my mom and a few other people. Now, Nezuko works with Izuku constantly. Teamwork. Even though they don't come from the same school, they work together. Well, they rack up quite a lot of points. Surprisingly, they outrank Bakugo's score in the original canon. On their own, respectively. Each on their own. Making Nezuko number 2. Now when the Zero Pointer actually shows up, Izuku welcomes sees Uraraka, as does Nezuko. Nezuko and Izuku both charge in, since they have the instinct to protect people. Nezuko frees Uraraka from the rubble, and Izuku takes out the Zero Pointer. He uses a scorpion, doesn't just use a punch. Izuku actually uses the Susanoo. And the Susanoo being empowered by One For All, which just has a gigantic sword that strikes Zero Pointer. Just at that second, an orange key, he teleports right there and then gets hit with the sword. Luckily he didn't die, because that wouldn't be fun. You're wondering who the hell this guy is. It's Goku. Now I should explain why Goku's here. Goku was actually, beforehand, was training with Whis. He's with, well, Vegeta. Goku actually arrived, and both of them actually went through a rift that we discovered in Beerus' home planet. That took them to the My Hero world and told them they should train with some very strong people in this other dimension. Be extremely careful not to get too many people involved. To be careful of who they fight, because they could be trouble over everyone. Now, Vegeta is flying toward Goku and is using the Dragon Ball Z abridged screaming. You're wondering why Shelter's here. This is for another What If, although she will be involved in some point in this story. Izuku is stunned because he saw an orange guy. He powers down on Susanoo and sees this guy just get back up like it was no problem. He introduces himself as Goku and sees Uraraka and gives her a senzu. Sorry. I'm a little bit nervous, so keep that in mind. Now, Vegeta shows up. However, another person also shows up. This is Bisky from Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, Bisky, the person who looks like a little girl but is actually a 60-year-old woman. Yeah, and then does that stuff to people like that. All Might shows up, starts yelling at Goku. Yeah, Goku is taken to Bisky, and all Vegeta are taken to Principal Nezu. Now, Principal Nezu does get a lot of information about the rifts. He's only ever heard rumors about their existence, but never seen anyone out from the rifts, aside from some Uchiha here and there. Now, due to being an Uchiha, it was obviously an Uchiha, and being All Might's successor is a huge deal. Now, all three actually managed to get a job at UA. Ironic. Isn't that kind of funny? Because unlike other stories where Goku doesn't get a job, he's hired he's also brought in to help train Deku. But he wants to train Deku first, before training other students. However, a rift appears and Bulma and Chi-Chi, who are a little bit angry, and then notices they're inside a school and questions why. Goku explains the whole situation to them. Vegeta's the one who explains the situation and introduces Bisky to them, who's apparently also going to be a part of training. Now, sorry if I talk fast. It's part of me being nervous. I also have a bit of a speech impediment, so keep that in mind. one of Bisky. Now they're taking to the Goku and Vegeta, Goku, and Bisky all decide to help train Izuku and Nezuko. Nezuko is cute little demon girl. Oh, that was me. Now, Goku first teaches Izuku how to use ki control. Well, his way. Nezuko and Izuku actually successfully create ki seers, although Izuku and Nezuko almost pass out when they go too much of it. Now, Izuku's able to affect it. However, apparently, Bulma had brought in a lot of other people from their world, namely to join the staff of UA. These are, of course, Gohan, Piccolo, Master Roshi, Krillin, 18, Tien, and Chaozu, as well as Yamcha. Why Yamcha? Because we could make a joke about him being killed off screen. No, it's just part of the joke. Izuku and Nezuko also learn how to use Nen. In fact, they got to the point where they did the divine water ritual, the divine divination ritual. However, something weird happens that should be impossible. You see, each of their waters were overflowing, but they were also transformed at the same time into a different type of liquid. Nezuko's turned into a pink lemonade, and Izuku's turned into something similar to Surge or Mountain Dew. Yeah, Izuku ended up, and they were overflowing beyond overflowing, which Bisky determines that some people in this world might actually have dual attribute, and then maybe dual attributed, which shouldn't be possible. And more specifically, Nezuko and Izuku are both specialists and enhancers at the same time. That shouldn't be possible, but it is for them. She begins to question how possible it could be. Now, during these last few weeks before they do get their letters from UA and actually end up, they both going together, with Nezuko having special conditions revolve around her. Since they now figured out she's probably from a different world. Now, Nezuko, when they make it to UA, they actually have learned a few new Nen create a few of their own Nen techniques. Izuku has created Plasma Release, which is a upgrade to Lightning Release in particular. He's also formed a technique called Bendy Blade Jutsu, which allows him to jolt out from his body blades, as if he had Steel Release, which is a filler Keki Genkai. However, these blades are actually made out of a combination of chakra, ki, and nen, and are produced from his own body. And it was essentially a big old screw you to anyone who tries to grapple him. Now, that is it. Has really long hair at this point, so has the hair like his grandfather, Madara. So, yeah. Izuku eventually the rest of his class, even Uraraka. Although Nezuko warns her not to be a homewrecker. She questions why Nezuko would say that. but just chalks it up to Nezuko being protective of her boyfriend. That's when Nezuko reveals that she's actually Zuko's fiance, which shocks even everyone who's currently in the class. As Zuko says to sit down, because the teacher needs to get in. Around this time, you stand arrows in hidden locations around the multiverse start appearing. This is because of an entity I like to call the Traveler and the Keeper. Now, eventually, Izuku and Nezuko will get stands. However, Izuku's stand is actually going to have the Eternal Mangekyo, an inverted version, an alternate version of Izuku's own Mangekyo. And Nezuko will also get a rock stand like Family Stone, but it's actually called Lady Guardian, which actually takes the form of a statue that absorbs stones to become larger and larger, but can also shrink down and grow and shrink. It can be as small as a pebble and as big as a statue. However, the larger size needs for it to absorb more rock. Earth materials, basically, like sand, dirt, rocks. It can also create refined earth, like refined steels, refined metals, and glass. It can also absorb artificial stones like cement. So one of her teachers are kind of out of luck when it comes to Nezuko using a stone. Now, Izuku actually flat out uses draw with the ball toss, with ki control and Nanyu's applied, as well as his chakra control, which fires the ball 5,000 meters, 50,000 meters to be exact. So that's about 80. Nezuko tosses 30,000 meters. Araka still gets the infinity, but Nezuko becomes close friends after this, so yeah. Mineta is actually in last place. Why? Because he's rich. He kept getting distracted. Yeah, guess what? He's a pervert. It's when Roshi shows up. Roshi is a bit weird and a bit a pervert himself, so yeah, beating Roshi is Roshi. Sorry if clipping noises, that's just me clipping my nails. So, yeah. Join part 1 later. Bye!